The view is great from here. Sonic looked around at the townspeople going about their day from where he was sitting in front of the cave window as he casually took a bite of his glazed donut, swinging his legs to the beat of the jukebox playing in the background.
It's so weird seeing people from this distance now,
he thought as he licked his fingers from the leftover glaze. It's almost as if the mere presence of a talking teenaged hedgehog would bring in a group of people, but luckily this town liked to keep secrets to themselves. The thought of ever coming into town so nonchalantly like this never crossed the young hedgehog's mind until about 5 months ago when he was being hunted by the government and their crazed scientist, Dr. Robotic, only to banish the madman to another planet, be deemed a town hero, and taken in by the town sheriff and his wife. Yeah, that was a heck of a week. Since Maddie was working overtime at the veterinary, Tom decided it was a good idea for the both of them to go out into town for the day, get some fresh air and do some window shopping. It was mostly for Tom's sake. The young teen continued to look outward onto the street, watching cars drive by and seeing people walk in pairs or groups, wearing their fall outerwear, and being deep in their conversations, kids with their parents or friends talking about future plans for the upcoming Halloween, with a few kids eagerly waving at him through the window if they saw him from time to time. He was about to ask Tom about having an idea for a certain movie marathon they should have later on when something outside caught his eye. He saw a father with a child who he quickly assumed was his son, lifting the child up on his shoulders. The child giggled endlessly as he stretched out his arm as his dad started running around in circles and dodging people who were walking on the sidewalk, laughing along with him. As they left his field of vision, Sonic sat back and stared at his now half-eaten food on the table. He had seen parents do this with their kids plenty of times. For as long as he's been living here, he could see why both the kid and the adult would enjoy something like that. It's never bothered him before.
Why is it starting to now?
He wondered as his face furrowed in confusion. Tom noticed that the kid hasn't said a single word in the past 5 minutes, which immediately put to conclusion he was starting to get tired or something was bothering him. Looking up from his newspaper, he saw Sonic's mouth in a frown and his eyebrows furrowed as he looked at his plate with intense concentration as he played with the fabric of his red scarf sitting on his lap. Seeing that he was actually still awake, he saw an opening to get his attention.
You know, if you concentrate too hard on that plate, they'll hit you right in your face.
Sonic snapped out his thoughts and lifted his head to see Tom smirking at him, sipping from his cough cup.
What are you talking about? I don't have powers like that.
Tom idly shrugged his shoulders, lifting the cup to his mouth.
From what I can tell, want to really challenge him down to a serious food fight.
Sipping, he looked at Tom with an annoyed expression before banging his head on the table, clattering the dishes as he did.
Oh my gosh, why do you think that's even a good joke?
He exclaimed.
'Cause I knew it would get you out of whatever's been bothering you.
Lifting his head, he saw Tom looking at him waiting to hear his answer with a face that said, "If you don't tell me, you definitely going to have to tell Maddie when she gets home and she can make anyone crack." Knowing he wasn't going to win this battle, he sighed and decided to get to the point.
I saw this kid and his dad doing something I thought looked kind of fun. I don't know why it looked fun, it just didn't. What I was wondering if...
Tom quickly stopped him.
Sonic, buddy, just slow down, okay? Just take a breath and start over.
Nodding his head, he took a breath and said slowly,
Can I maybe ride on your shoulders?
Taken aback, he stared at the now blushing teen in surprise and confusion.
You want me to put you on my shoulders?
He asked, audibly confused. Fidgeting in his seat, he replied shyly while pushing his food around with his fork.
Well, I've seen it happen before, and each time the kids always look so happy. I wanted to know what that was like since I've never done it before.
Tom sat in shock for a second until it came into realization what he meant. Knowing how much loneliness the kid went through, Not being able to really interact with kids his own age or anybody in general, it makes sense why something like this would interest him so eagerly. Slouching forward across the table, he tapped on the table to get the hedgehog's attention. Looking up, Tom gave him a smile.
Sure, let's give this newer thing a shot.
Sonic's face lit up in excitement as he let out loud,
Yes!
getting the attention of the other waitresses and customers in the cafe. Flinching at the teen's outburst, Tom gave an apologetic look at everyone before getting out his wallet. It's better they leave before someone complained about his kid again. After paying the bill, Tom grabbed his coat and walked out of the cafe with Sonic tightly walking at his side. Bouncing with excitement, whether it was from this or that donut he ate, he started running in place as he saw Tom putting on his coat and looking down at the energetic child, who was struggling to get his scarf secured around his neck.
Well, someone's excited. You ready?
He said as he bent down to help him with his scarf, locking his legs into place. He looked up at Tom with an intense look of determination.
Absolutely, Sheriff. Donut Lord, sir.
Rolling his eyes, he grabbed Sonic under his arms and began to lift him up, only to stop and let out a groan. Confused, Sonic looked at him with concern as Tom had a look of grimace on his face.
What's wrong?
Oh my gosh, it has Matty been feeding you lately barbels from the gym?
Excuse me, you carried me to bed last night with no struggle at all, and now you think I'm too heavy.
He replied with snark, narrowing his eyes in suspicion.
That was different. The cute look on your face while you were sleeping distracted me, but you're obviously thinking that over it.
He sassily replied, lifting him higher to meet him eye to eye, giving him a look of shock. He gasped with his mouth agape.
Oh, how dare you, sir?
Letting out a laugh, he then lifted Sonic higher.
Okay, no.
Tom grunted as he lifted Sonic onto his shoulders, the teen grabbing the sides of his head as he took in the new view from the added height.
Oh.
The hedgehog exclaimed with wonder.
Now I see why you always stand all the time and never sit. This is amazing.
Tom chuckled as went to grab Sonic's legs and started walking along the sidewalk.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I felt like a giant whenever my dad would do this.
To me, all you guys are freaking giants.
He said as he brushed his hand against the high tree limbs that grew above them.
Yeah, I'll bet.
Tom replied as he shook his head free of leaves that fell from the branch, earning a laugh from Sonic. As they walked out of the square and started up the hill to their neighborhood, Sonic took in everything there was to see from this new height. From the way the leaves looked on the trees when the sun hit them, revealing their bright orange and red colors, to seeing rooftops of the other houses in the distance and the smoke came out from the chimneys. After a moment, Sonic spoke up.
Hey, Tom.
Hey, Sonic.
Can we try running instead of walking?
I don't know if I'll be able to do that with you on my shoulders like this. You're still pretty heavy.
He says sheepishly as he slows down his pace.
But isn't it your job to run after people?
Not as often as a police officer, since there's not a lot of crime around here. It's mostly walking or driving for us.
Oh, can we still try it?
I think about it.
Oh, come on, please.
He extends the last word in a pleading manner as he tugs the human's ears, letting out a grunt of discomfort. He turns his head slightly to look in the hedgehog's direction.
I said I'll think about it.
Tom looks straight ahead again as he nods at a passing young couple, the both of them smiling and whispering at the coup's side as they walked by them.
Okay, fine.
He huffed out a sigh as he placed his hands on Tom's head again. As they climbed towards the hill leading towards their house, Sonic began drumming his fingers on top of the sheriff's head, humming the song he heard from the jukebox earlier.
Sonic, who went?
Nope, not at all.
He nonchalantly, as he continued to tap his head, sighing, Tom released Sonic's legs and reaching his hands up, prodding the hedgehog's sides, yelping in surprise. Sonic stopped and squirmed away while trying not to fall off Tom's shoulders.
What the heck, man?
Well, I asked you to stop.
No, what you said was, do you mind? That's not the same thing. Besides, I needed something to do to get that soul out of my head.
He spat back, sounding irritated.
It's technically the same thing. It's just another way of saying it, and watch, that's ass. To sheriff officer here.
Sonic scoffed, knocking his knuckles on top of the human's head.
Well, please? Wade is more threatening than you are, and that's saying a lot.
Oh, really now, in the case, what do you think of this?
He reaches up again and wiggles his fingers into the hedgehog's sides. Sonic dissolved into fits of laughter, pinning his arms to his sides while trying to keep his balance.
Ha ha ha. No, stop it.
Do you still think Wade is more threatening now?
He questioned over the loud laughter.
Yes, he still is.
He swelled as he kneeled against Tom's head, trying to shield his body.
Romance, buddy.
He moved his hands to the hedgehog's stomach, nearly getting kicked in the face from his flailing feet.
Okay, yes, you're more threatening. Stockhand Brad.
He cackled, swatting away the attacking hands. Grabbing his legs again, the man chuckled as he picked up the pace as he continued up the hill.
Next time I hear saying those words out in public like that, I won't go so easy on you.
Whipping his eyes, he let out a giggle as he rubbed his sides and caught his breath.
I won't do it again, Officer Wachowski.
That's Mr. Officer Bobsky, you know.
He said in a serious, goofy voice.
You know I'm not calling you that.
He lets out a chuckle as he grabs Sonic's ankles and continues walking. As they come towards the hill, Tom stops completely, looking at the length of the sidewalk. Curious, Sonic tries to look where Tom is staring.
What's up?
He lets out a sigh as he spoke softly.
Just this once.
Oh, what do you mean, mijo?
He let out a small yell as he felt Tom increase his running. Sonic let out a laugh as Tom maneuvered around trees and fire hydrants as they traveled up the slope faster. He held out his arms and smiled as he felt the breeze blow softly on his face.
Hey, now I can see why kids really love this now.
He thought as he heard Tom panting as he slowed down, reaching the top of the hill.
Oh man, what happened? You didn't even run that far.
Sonic whined as they came to a stop.
I told you that you're getting heavy.
He let out a groan as he put his hands on his knees.
And it's hard running up a hill in general with all this weight on your shoulders.
He pants as he trudges up the remainder of the hill.
Maybe it's those donuts you've been eating recently.
I haven't been eating them that much.
Yes, you have, honestly. I'm surprised you are more out of shape from eating them and you say they're heavy.
You're a little rat.
He quickly squeezes the teen's knees.
Okay, stop.
He grabs Tom's hands and pushes them away, putting his hands protectively over his knees. Once they reached the top, Tom turned around and gazed at the town below, the two watching the sun's rays light up the bright trees in the valley below. Sonic let out a whistle as he looked at the view in front of him.
I'm used not going outside as much when it would start to get colder, but I never realized how beautiful this place is during this time of year.
Tom smiled as he shrugged his shoulders, readjusting Sonic to keep him balanced as he watched on.
Yeah, that was one of the reasons why I love this place. Views can't be compared to anything else that you've seen before.
Well, I've seen a lot of places outside of this town, and I can see what you mean.
Sonic replied before stopping with confusion.
Wait, one of the reasons? What was the other reason?
Well, my lovely wife, May, of course.
Oh, Gross? Oh, man, really?
Just you wait until your first crush. We completely love struck and so wobbly in the knees. You want to do with yourself.
Sonic recalled it just the thought of that and shook it off before going back to staring at the view.
Well, that's one thing we can agree on.
Tom turned his head, waiting for a replay.
What's the bud?
Sonic smiled as the winds blew around them, oblivious to the sudden chill and the tails of his scarf blowing behind him and hitting his back spikes.
The view is great.